Jesus fucking Christ. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of That's Wild. I feel like I look very tired today, and I am kind of, but the reason why I'm tired is because I haven't had my coffee today. I usually always have a coffee around midday, but I had no milk. So instead of coffee, I had an energy drink, and I forgot that those things wear off after like a few hours. So I'm going through caffeine withdrawal right now, and my eyes, I feel like I look like I've been drugged, but I have no oh my god. I have no caffeine in my system. So my only other option was to have another energy drink because I still don't have milk. But anyway, that is the reason why I look like I'm about to fall asleep, even though I'm not. I forgot my other intro already, but welcome back, guys. I might wear my glasses so that I don't look like I'm about to fall asleep. These are the most big, ridiculous glasses, but I love them. And I use them for driving because they look at the whole sun. But anyway, welcome back. And this week's episode is kind of interesting to me because I've been thinking about it for a little while. And it's because I had this random thought the other day. But anyway, let me first start it off with, I just think disabled people are all overthinkers. And let me explain why. So, the reason why I had this thought was I was walking in town the other day, and I was crossing the road, and while I was crossing the road, I was thinking in my head, what foot am I going to put on the pavement first? And, like, why? So, oh my god, I walked through a spider web a second ago, and I keep feeling things crawling on me, but I think in my head, but if I see a spider, I'm like, actually shit. Until I see it, I'm just gonna carry on. But I was thinking, what foot am I gonna use to step up onto the curb? Is it a curb? Yeah, onto the curb. And then I was thinking, people that don't have disabilities probably don't think this way. They just walk and they just step. They don't think what leg is feeling more sturdy or stable, or like I just think you don't have that thought process. But then I got thinking more about, oh, I can literally feel something crawling on me, but I can't see it. Oh, I don't like it. I keep losing my train of thought. But anyway, it got me thinking into other things that disabled people have to think about, that people that don't have disabilities probably don't think about. So, I mean, if I'm talking about myself, one thing that I struggle with the most is getting up in the morning. It takes me so long to get ready because the way that my disability works is that when I'm asleep, my body is in such a relaxed state. All my muscles go limp. I mean, as anyone would, but obviously during the day, my muscles are so tight and tense from the cerebral palsy that during the night time is when they go all limp and floppy and relaxed. But then when I wake up, my body then transitions from that relaxed state to the really tense state. So when I wake up, I can feel my body getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. And sometimes if I get up when it's in this relaxed state, I can't function. I can't do anything because I can't move my body in the way that I'm used to. But then also, if I lie there for an extra hour waiting for my body to get into gear, then I have to get up ridiculously early. So it's a fine line. So over the years, I've learned to like plan my mornings to a T, and because of the way that my body is transitioning in the morning, it takes me long to do anything. So I always give extra time. But that being said, because my muscles are so relaxed when I sleep, I like to have as much sleep as possible. So I don't enjoy waking up because I know that I'm like losing that relaxed state. I always wake up looking forward to when I have to go to sleep again because I know because my body just needs that calm, relaxed feeling. And in the mornings, I feel like I used to be a lot more. I used to be a lot quicker when I was younger. So like when I was in school and when I was in like college and uni and stuff, I was much more efficient because I had to be at school by like 8:30, 8:45. So I would get up probably at like 6. So that gave me an hour to get ready, and then I had like time to eat and do whatever I wanted to do without being rushed. Now that I'm older, I definitely prioritize sleep more than anything else. So I end up rushing in the morning, which is a bit annoying. But I love sleep because it is, I mean, the only time that my body actually truly relaxes to like having nothing, no tension. It's so relaxing. Another thing that I overthink, I would say, is like my whole day schedule. So if I have something planned in the morning, I will get up earlier to prepare myself for that thing. Or like if I have a meeting in the morning, I make sure that I'm up earlier so I have time to sit and chill before I'm doing that meeting. But if I have something like today, I have something at like 5:30 p.m. and I've been stressed all day because I didn't want to overexert myself before I get to 5:30 because then I'm gonna have no energy by the time I get there. So I've been trying to take it more chill today because I didn't want to overexert myself and have less energy for what I have planned later on in the evening. And it also is the same with kind of, I have the same mentality with like food and coffee and like everything that I put into my body. To be fair, I am very bad at fueling myself correctly because eating requires a lot of time in my day. Everything takes longer than what I feel I have time for. So unless I like schedule a meal into my day, I kind of just eat here and there, which I know is really bad, but like sometimes I just don't have the energy all the time to sit and eat lunch because I'm at work or because I know that my body might not cooperate and I might not be able to actually like have the energy to chew food, which is really bad. But like those are all things that I have to like consider and plan into my day, which again, people without a disability probably don't have to do at all. The other thing, which is a big thing, is obviously getting around and transport and what is it, mobility. So as I said earlier, I was walking in town and I realised that I was like actually thinking about what foot I'm gonna put first. And that also leads with like my biggest, not even my biggest stress, but like I often forget that I have a disability until I have to do something. So, for example, if I'm going to London or if I'm going somewhere for something, I then have to sit and plan, okay, am I going to get the train? If I do get the train, then how am I going to get on the train? How am I going to get off the train? Do I have luggage with me? Am I going to be able to carry luggage? When I get to London, am I then going to get a taxi because I have luggage? Or am I going to get on the tube? But then are my legs going to be able to hold me on the tube? Are they going to feel a bit unsteady? Am I going to am I going to eat enough so that I have the energy to do the tube? Or should I drive and do like a 4-hour drive? Can I handle the 4-hour drive? When should I stop? Should I stop at hours and then do 3 hours? Or stop at 2 hours? There's like, there's so much to think about when you have a disability that people probably don't realise. But again, I was sat in my car the other day thinking I'm so grateful that I can drive now, because when I used to take the bus everywhere, I had to micromanage my life, like properly sit down and micromanage, because number one, the bus services were never reliable. So I always had to consider I always had to plan option A and option B. Option B usually being getting a taxi or getting someone to come and pick me up because the bus wouldn't show it. But then also a lot of the time, like, I had to make sure that I had the energy to walk to the bus station. My bus stop most local to my house, I also have to go up and down a set of stairs, which I have to really be careful on because I obviously don't want to fall down the stairs. And then a lot of the time when I got the bus, it was during like rush hour. So if there's a lot of people on the stairs, I got to be careful because I don't want to be accidentally nudged and then end up falling. So that was another thought. And then also the worst thing about the buses is that if it was really busy, they would just not let you on the bus. So then if I'm not let on the bus, then how am I going to get home? Like, other people could potentially walk to a different bus stop. I didn't have that energy or that ability to do that. The other thing that used to really piss me off was if I got on the bus and the bus driver drove away immediately, which then meant that I was really unsteady because I'm not sat down or I'm not holding on to anything. So that puts me in a very vulnerable, dangerous position. And when I was younger, there was so many times that they would do that and I would go flying down the bus and end up hurting myself because they didn't stop to consider that a disabled person might not be able to walk on a moving vehicle while they're driving. Like, some drivers just didn't have that thought at all. And yeah, I remember so many times getting flying down the bus because they would just drive away and not even think about it. And the other thing was, like, buses aren't always direct, so you have to get a bus and then walk to another stop and then get another bus. And that requires a lot of energy. That requires a lot of strength, a lot of planning, a lot of thinking. I mean, if you can already imagine that I'm thinking, what foot am I putting first in front of me to like walk, then think about how much I have to think about when I'm getting the bus and like getting on the bus, getting off the bus, walking to the next bus stop, getting on, getting off. Also, just like the little thought of getting out my phone to pay for it. How long is it going to take me trying to do it fast? I don't want to waste time. There's so many things to think about. So when I started driving, I didn't quite realise how like life-changing it would be, because it does remove a lot of that thought. Because now I can just get in my car almost without a thought and just go. I don't have to think. I don't have to plan my energy. I don't have to plan my route. I don't have to plan my steps. I can just get in my car and drive, which is so nice. It's so nice not have to think about so much. I mean, I do have to consider my energy levels and how my body is feeling. I know that if I'm having a tough day, I might not drive for the hours and hours. I can definitely drive to work and drive to horse riding. Even that, like, my whole life before I had a car, my mum used to drive me everywhere. especially for the horses. She was driving me horse riding and driving me back, and obviously sit and stay, which took up a lot of time in her day as well. So having my own car gave me another level of independence, but also another level of freedom, and it also took a lot of like time and pressure off my parents because they didn't have to drive me anywhere anymore. I could do it myself. So it is really awesome that I can do this. And I'm very grateful to have my beautiful car. I mean, that's another thing because the car that I had, like my first car, I love her. She was what was it, a Volkswagen? No, is it Volkswagen? A VW Polo. And the reason why I got that car is because it was the lightest reaction time on it. It's like the steering is very light and the pedals are very light, which means that I don't have to overexert myself in any way because I didn't have to turn the wheel low to be able to turn. And also the way that I drive, or at least I was taught to drive one-handed because my right hand isn't as reliable or safe, so I was taught to drive only with my left hand. And again, you can imagine after an hour driving with one hand, it can get quite tiring. So I really needed a car that was light because if it was really heavy, my arm would ache so much. So I love that car. That car was definitely like one of the greatest cars to drive, I think, as a disabled person, because it is so easy to drive. It's very light. It's very. Do you know what? I will say that the brakes are very sensitive. They're very sharp. But I like that because I didn't have to use that much pressure or energy in my body to brake. And this car is the same. It definitely is an upgrade from the Volkswagen. But this car has some extra points that I love. And the reason why I got this car is because my old car was literally about to like break down, fall apart and die. It had a few issues. So I had to trade it in, and I ended up getting another upgrade because one, my wheelchair fits in this car. It wouldn't fit in the other car. I had to get my mum to drive me somewhere with the wheelchair. But the wheelchair fits in this boot and is easier to get in and out. This car has heated seats, which I originally didn't really care about, but actually my body really reacts well to heat. So on a day where my body is feeling really stiff, having the heated seats actually allows my body to relax before I get anywhere, before I have to do anything, which is again really useful. And again, on a cold day, my body doesn't like cold weather either, so on a cold day, having the heated seats on is really nice because I can get my body to relax before I do anything. And a lot of the time I am going horse riding, and my yard is like 40 minutes to an hour away from where I live, so having the heated seats on before I get to the yard is actually really nice and allows my body to relax before I get on a horse, which I never really would have thought about, but it's a very good add-on for me. And then I also only drive automatic because obviously when you're driving one-handed you can't drive with gears. So I was taught to only drive auto, which I think is way easier. I've seen people that drive manual, and I think in this day and age, unless you're a lorry driver or you have like a huge horse box, then there's no need to drive manual. Like, it's so much more complicated, and as a disabled person, you don't want to be wasting your energy on things that aren't needed or required. So just get it automatic. It's basically a giant go-kart. It's go, stop, turn, park, brake, reverse, drive. My car does have sports mode, which I also love. But I'm currently, no, I was going to say I'm currently banned. I'm not banned. I'm restricting myself from using the sports mode because I love to drive fast. I really think that if I wasn't a horse rider, I'd be like a Formula One girl, or like I would drive for a living. I love driving cars and going fast, and that thrill of like having the engine rev. So you can imagine that I probably need to slow down. So I'm not allowed to use my sports mode for a long while because I'm trying to retrain my brain that I don't need to go fast everywhere. But it is a sports car and it does go fast, and I love it. It's good fun. But I guess the other thing that I haven't spoken about that I still have to overthink and consider is obviously I'm a horse rider, I ride horses, and that requires energy as well. So I've got into better practice about managing my energy levels, managing my body when I'm riding, because that's something that's my sport, that's my like passion, that's what I'm more interested and focused about. So I have a better plan when I'm going into ride, but I still overthink a lot of it, and that is annoying because a lot of the time when I'm riding, if I overthink myself, it affects the horse. So I'm retraining my brain not to overthink so much when I am riding. But what I do is I will plan my day around riding. So I know if I'm, depending on what time I'm riding, I will do certain things to help my body get into that good feeling for me to be able to ride. The only thing that I find really difficult with that is when I'm competing, you don't get to choose what time you're riding. You don't get told what time you're riding until like the night prior. So if I'm riding at 6 p.m., my routine is way different from if I'm riding at 8 a.m. So I have to really think my whole like day and schedule around my riding schedule, and I got better at that. But again, it just kind of it's hard when well, I find it harder when I'm riding late in the day because I have to really think about how I'm gonna keep my energy for the whole day to be able to ride out at my best in the in the evening. And I've gotten better at it, and a lot of it is just eating a good meal before I ride, so I have the energy and the fuel to be able to do my job. And then also stretching, which I don't enjoy doing, but stretching helps a lot, so I'm getting better at it. But yeah, I don't know, I was just thinking like people that have the disabilities have to overthink every element of their life to the point where your thoughts are just like 100 miles per hour most of the day because there's so many things to think about. So many things. I even think about like I even think about when I'm like when I'm doing stuff, I think pick that up with your right hand. Like I have to think in my brain what hand I'm gonna use to do something, or like what finger I'm gonna put where, or tell this muscle to do this with my arm because it won't do it by itself. I don't know, there's just so many things that I think about without realising that I think about. But obviously, if I told someone that doesn't have a disability that they would think that I'm crazy. They would think that I'm just like being really extra and overthinking everything. But like, I have to think about everything to be able to, to be able to function fully in my life. It's really fascinating to me just how like the brain works so differently in different ways. It's crazy. But then like the other thing that people find really fascinating is that obviously I'm quite disabled. I'm very disabled. And people don't understand how I can drive a car and how I have a license. my body is in the most relaxed state when I'm driving or riding a horse, because I feel like not only does it have to be because it is like a safety thing, my brain just totally relaxes in those moments, to the point where, yeah, my body might move differently to someone else's, but to me it's like really relaxed and rooted and safe. And I mean, I totally get the curiosity, because if you see me in a state where I am stiff or spasming or got my arm fucking punching someone, like, I get it. I get why people question how I do things, but there's something within my brain that just tells my muscles and my body that you can't do that right now. You can't move the way that you usually would, because it's not the right time. And I don't know whether I did that myself. I don't know whether I trained my brain to be that way, or whether it just does it itself. But I'm very grateful for it either way. Because I don't know what I would do without those moments of when I'm driving and when I'm riding. Having those moments of relaxation throughout my day is what keeps me sane. Because if I was my full stiff style for the whole day, I'd be exhausted. I'd be fully exhausted. So having those moments of relaxation throughout my day is actually so needed, because unless I'm very bad at like finding other ways to relax. I don't enjoy meditating. I don't enjoy yoga or stretching or like gym, or I don't have lots of ways in my life that I like to relax other than driving and riding and like sitting on the sofa doing nothing. So yeah, it's very nice to have those moments of relaxation throughout my day. The other thing, oh my god, I just had a thought. Like, the other thing, I went to my old dentist last week. My camera cut off because I was talking for too long. But the guy was really disrespectful and rude, so I left there and I went to a different place which was much better. But again, in order to go to the dentist, obviously you have to sit quite still, which for me is ridiculously hard. And I explained that to all dentists, like, I'll try my best to stay still, but I will move. But if I do, it's not because I'm in pain, it's just my body moving. I will tell you if I'm in pain, okay? I'll tell you. And a lot of dentists are, most dentists understand that, but like, the one that I went to didn't. I'm getting really hot, I need to open the door. But the other dentist kept saying, like, just sit still, it's not that hard. I'm like, bro, if you were in my body, you would understand how fucking hard it is to sit still. Like, I actually can't, it's not gonna happen. But anyway, I ended up going somewhere else because that guy was just so rude. But again, that's something that I have to think about when I'm going to the dentist. I don't have to, like, anyone else that would be going to a dentist would just go to the dentist, go sit in the chair and get stuff done. Whereas I go to the dentist, I am already thinking about how I'm gonna have to write on the paperwork and like how much energy that's going to require. And then thinking about, okay, I have to sit in the most comfortable position I can to stop me from moving so much. I then have to think, is there anything in the room that is going to trigger me and make me move more? I'm very sensitive to sound and light and movement, so to counteract that, I wear noise cancelling earphones so that I don't hear all the instruments, And then I play music so that I have something for my brain to focus on, so that I don't move so much. And then if I really want to take it over the edge, I take medication that literally makes me dopey, so that I will sit still for long enough. And that's what I have to think about when I know that I got to go to the dentist. Whereas someone without a disability would just go to the dentist, and that would be their only thought. Isn't it interesting though how like people's brains just have to work differently for different things? I don't know. But anyway, I've been talking at you for like half an hour now, so I feel like that's enough for today. And I'm getting really hot. It's a lot hotter in here than what I thought it was going to be today, and I have to go back to work, and I have to go get my hair cut because I'm getting a bob. I decided, but actually I'm not. Well, I don't know. I think I'll see what I get when I get there. I'm very indecisive when it comes to my hair. I don't really care what my hair looks like as long as I can tie it back. But I definitely am getting my roots done, and I really want a long bob, so I might be getting that. So next week when you see me and my hair, I might have a new hairstyle. But anyway, thank you all for listening today and enjoying my rant. If you do relate to me in any way, leave a comment, because I would love to hear other people's stories about how they overthink everything in their life. And that's just things that require movement. If you think about things that require like intelligence or like emotions, that's a whole nother level. So my brain is always at like 1,000 miles per hour about everything. Even speaking, oh my god, I forgot the key part. Even speaking, I have to plan when I'm gonna take a breath, how long I'm gonna breathe for, like how deep the breath is gonna be, how many words I can get out within each breath. There's so much to think about. So much to think about. But also, like, certain words I really struggle with, and I'll stutter when I go to say them, because I really struggle with words that start with, like, P's, or even my name, Tegan Vincent-Cooke, like, the V in the Vincent. I will almost always stutter on, because I really struggle with getting that movement in my mouth, which is really annoying. Now, whenever anyone asks my name, I have to really like take a deep breath. Tegan Vincent-Cooke. It takes so much brain power to even get that out, which is quite funny. But again, now that I'm getting tired, my words are becoming less dictated. Is that the word? Dictated. They're not as clear diction. Is that the word? Is that what I'm going for? I don't know. But again, that's just another thing that I have to think about. And do you know what? The other thing that I realised is that since I fractured my ribs a few years ago, I can't cough it anymore, because I think obviously when I fractured my ribs, everything hurt. So I must have just stopped coughing because it would hurt. And now I physically can't cough. So if I get anything stuck in my throat, I'm fighting for my life because my body will not cough. It's fucking crazy. Anyway, I've definitely spoken for long enough today. If you do relate to anything, obviously leave a comment below and let's relate. Let's have a chat. Let's have a rant about our annoying brains that move at 1,000 miles per hour. Jesus. Anyway, thank you all for listening or watching, and I'll see you again next week. Same time, same place. Hopefully more energy. Okay, bye guys. That's having a disability.